Meeting is being recorded.
Hello, everyone. Good morning and good evening for those who are in Asia. Thank you for joining this webinar and welcome to this conversation. My name is Per Grafland. I'm Manager of Volunteer Services at Catalyst Plus, and I'll be moderating this panel discussion today. So prior to getting started, just a couple logistical items. This is a panel discussion, so attending microphones will be muted during the entire webinar session. If you have any questions, please put them in the Q&A box, and we've scheduled some time at the end to answer questions. The webinar will be recorded or is recorded, and it will be posted on My Catalyst Plus, and it will also be shared as a resource with any advisors who will be doing future assignments in Asia. So today's our fourth session in a series of advisor webinars that focuses on regional cultural sensitivity. During each session, we spotlight one of the regions that we work in, and today we'll be talking about the countries that we work in Asia. So that's Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam, Myanmar, and the Philippines. So just a bit of background. We started organizing these sessions to provide a more in-depth resource that specifically focuses on preparing to work with a partner with regards to their cultural context. Because, of course, each region and each country that we work in has distinct cultural norms and practices, we realize that learning and understanding how to navigate cultural differences affects the assignment outcome in the most positive way. Our in-country staff is highly experienced in this and provides valuable insights and guidance during each assignment. So we wanted to create this platform where they can share their knowledge together with our highly experienced advisors. So we have an incredible panel of speakers today, consisting of two in-country staff members and then two very experienced Catalyst Plus advisors. So I will now give the mic to our panelists to introduce themselves. And I'd like to start with Hugh Phang, country representative for the ALL program in Vietnam.
Well, thank you, Bert, and hello, everyone. My name is Hugh. I am CR for Catalyst Plus in Vietnam since 2017, and I'm very pleased to be in this webinar, and very nice to discuss about this very important topic for not only our team in Vietnam, but it's also for our GSCAs and our programs at Catalyst Plus. So enjoy your section. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you, Hugh. I'd like to move to Nadine Kopf, our very experienced Catalyst Plus advisor.
Great, thank you. As well, it's a pleasure to be here and looking forward to the session. I have been with Catalyst about 10 years and have done around 30 projects, 12 being in Asia Pacific area, probably 8 in person and the others in virtual across many different sectors. So I've had a lot of great experiences in terms of the different countries within Asia, Cambodia, Vietnam, Philippines, Myanmar, and so on. So look forward to chatting today.
Great, thanks, Nadine. And then we'll move to another very experienced Catalyst Plus advisor, Debbie Schofield.
Hi, thanks, Puck. Thanks, everyone. I've been working with Catalyst and KESO for close to 20 years, started in 2008. I've been doing maybe 1 or 2 projects a year. My most recent assignment was in Cambodia. I had 2 back-to-back assignments there in February.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Debbie. And I see that we have, great, hello, Vener. There we go. Hi, Vener. Perfect timing. So Vener Valerio is
Hello,
our
yeah.
manager.
I'm sorry.
No problem. You're just in time. He's our project manager for the new Elevate program in the Philippines, and he's been working with the ALL program for a very long time. So if you'd like to take a couple sentences to introduce yourself, Vener. I see there's a bit of a lag.
Yeah. My internet's slow. I'm sorry.
That's all right. Would you like to take a minute to introduce yourself to the audience?
Yeah, I'm Viner Valerio, the project manager for the Elevate project. Oh, I just actually recently, I just got home from a travel. I met with some of the DTI regional offices, the regional directors from the Cordillera Administrative Region and as well as Region 3. So I have a pretty good response for the for the Elevate project. So I've been with Catalyst Plus for more than 13 years already. So pretty much a lot of experience between of course the partners, taking care of the partners and the Catalyst Plus advisors. So yeah, that's it for now.
Great. Thank you, Vinay. I know your days are very long. You already had a whole day behind you. So thank you and Hugh for joining this late in the evening after having a whole workday. So let's take a quick look at the agenda for today. After this little welcome and introductions, we'll start with a brief question for the audience to start the discussion. Then we have opening questions for advisors and our country teams. Then we'll talk through one bigger case study where the whole panel will chime in on how to solve that situation. We'll have time for Q&A, and then we'll wrap up with some brief conclusions. So we will start with a brief question. So you can all pull out your phone if you like. And we would like to invite you to take your mobile phone, scan the QR code, and then we'd like to hear from you on what cultural sensitivity looks like to you in practice. So when you think of cultural sensitivity, what is the first thing that comes to mind to you? Have you been in situations, can be Canada, can be anywhere, where you realized, oh, actually, I misinterpreted this. I should think of something. I should shift my communication strategy. Great, there's something. So awareness, definitely awareness of your own communication. Patience in communicating with others, with the partner. Respect, absolutely. Empathy. Listening, definitely linked to empathy. I need to listen first. Flexibility, absolutely. Fitting in, yeah, that's being aware of your surroundings, being aware of how you behave. Context, thinking of the context that you're in, definitely listening. Great. These are some really, really great thoughts. Visual cues, definitely. Reciprocating, learning. Great. Perfect. Thank you so much. These are really great answers. I think this is a really nice start to the discussion. Perfect. Elderly facial expressions. Yeah, all part of awareness. Great. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. This was great. Really nice start. I'd like to move to our opening questions. So we will start with our country teams, Hugh and Vener. So for you to start the conversation, which key cultural norms in your countries should advisors be aware of before they start working with a partner? And if you have any concrete examples to share for your countries, that'd be very helpful. So maybe, Hugh, would you like to start first?
All right. Thank you, Bert. I think from my experience when we start working with our partners, especially for the CA who are first, have an assignment with the new partner, that is very important for them to understand the partners, getting to know them, and very important to understand the expectation. And I would say this is one of the main things that we always have to manage for the CA and the partner to work together uh, in order to have a success assignments later on. So I would say expectation management from CA and partner is a major point for that before we start the assignment. So sometimes people will not really have the same thinking or getting into the same page about expectation from the partner point of view and from the CA point of view. Um, of course, we cannot blame anyone about this because since you are in Canada, a half of the Earth's length with the partner in Vietnam, and you have a totally different perception, you have totally different situation, and of course, we don't really know each other very much, and it is also the other barriers like language barrier could probably create some misunderstanding and is will be sometimes it's getting kind of complicated about what we really expect from each other and it's caused quite a bit of issues that we need to solve later on, especially if you want to get a success result for the assignment. So this is the first point that I would like to point out, and I don't want to talk too much and get all the time from my college from the Philippines. So I will leave it to the end. Thank you.
Thanks, Hugh. Before we move on, do you just for your country, for Vietnam, is there any specific cultural norm that's specific to Vietnam that advisors should know about that they may not be aware of? Anything in communication, maybe in even awareness of your body language? Is there anything specific that it will be hard for us to know?
All right. Well, actually, they related to the point that I just mentioned. One of the normal culture from the partners in Vietnam, normally when they are applying for the assignment, they normally, include as much as possible. So they, when they write, for example, when they write the application form, they were asking or requiring for quite a big uh, demands, putting everything into that the one application for the assignment, and it seemed to be like a big picture, and normally they are not considering the scope of work for a limited timing for an assignment. And sometimes RCA seem to get shocked with what they have seen from the requirement in the application form, or for when they see the assignment profile. And I would like to say this is the normal, and we need to deal with the partner and try to discover what is the real problem or the real uh, things that we can support them in the when we jump into the assignment and start working with them. So I think I don't know if it's a specific things for Vietnam only, but I would like to see that is the normal for quite a lot of our partners in Vietnam when they start working with our CAs in so many assignments.
Thank you. I think this is an excellent point because we see this a lot, where yeah, it needs the interaction between the partner and the advisor to narrow down the scope of the assignment and to help the partner figure out what it's best to work on first. So I think that's an excellent point. Thank you for that. Then I'd like to move to Vener. Vener, what are some key cultural norms in the Philippines that advisors should know of or that are helpful for advisors to know?
Yeah, basically, Filipinos are very polite, no? They respect and they have high regard with Catalyst Plus advisors, and they really listen. They what do you call this? The partners. No, sorry, I'm still cloudy. Anyway, um, it's what we are doing, no? Just like what you says. For us here in the Philippines, it is better, no, for Catalyst Plus advisor to have an initial. It's sort of like an introductory online meeting. So through that, no, prior to the assignment, through that, they will be able to know. No? So what's happening with the introductory meeting, no, with between the CAs and the partner? Of course, I'm there. No, I'm the one who organized the Zoom, no, the Zoom meeting or the introductory meeting. The both the CA and the partner, they get to know each other right away. And then the CA, they discuss the work plan, to the partner. So through that initial or the introductory online session with the partner, they will be able to gauge, or the CA will be able to know, just like what you says, no? Um, in the application form, it's really broad, no? There's a lot of things going on in the application form. Um, and then the CA will discuss his or her work plan. So they will come to know, no, what really the partner needs, no, from the CA to learn, no, the partner to learn. And so even though that's happening, sometimes when the CA is already here, there's still something going on based on my experience, no? So sometimes they're having like they already understood what's going to happen and what are the topics to be discussed now once the CA is here. But sometimes, no, when the CA is already here, usually I bring the CAs, no, from the hotel in Manila, going to the partner's place. So while I already orient, no, the CA on what to do, what are the things that the partner really needs. So sometimes we're exchanging ideas, suggestions, no, between me and the CAs, including the other project officers. No, that's all of us. We're doing that. Um, we're orienting them basically on everything, no, the culture, no, what to expect, no, from the partner. Especially, we always tell them, no, these are not uh, educated in a way, have education regarding business. No? So, as much as possible, use words that is really easy to understand. Because we encountered one assignment, no, that the CA uses like it's a sort of highfalutin business word or business term. So the partner really like, what's that? So the partner got overwhelmed, no, with the term that that the CA is using. No? So those are the things that I usually encounter. No,
Right.
and yeah, go ahead.
Great. Thanks. This is excellent.
Oh,
Thank you so much. These are really good first
mm,
pointers. I'd like to move to our advisors. So for you, Debbie and Nadine, a question. In your work, doing your work in Asia, what surprised you the most? Did you run into any situations where you realized that you had to adapt to local cultural norms, and how did you handle it? Do you have any concrete examples?
So for me to start,
Great.
great. Yes, certainly surprises, but I think you know, a lot of people, they have an idea of some of the cultural differences in theory, whether it's communication style, relationships, hierarchy. But when you actually are working there and interacting on, you know, with the team, the local team, you actually get a more visceral or realistic perspective of it in action. And so for me, that's a bit of a surprise. So not so much a surprise, but very enlightening. So for example, as a North American and myself having worked in a large corporation, we're very task focused. And especially when you're working on a project where you have a defined output, you really want to achieve the end of the task, which drives even more of a task mindset sometimes. And I know that relationships are important. So I'll give an example. I was doing some work in Cambodia and I was going to do some training on project management. And it was going to be about a 3-day training program, 3 full days. And I had a couple of weeks there, and part of the development would happen while I was in the country, but I came already with a significant proportion developed. But what happened was, and a lot of this was really valuable to Kerr. So we went out, it was with the agricultural co-ops. So we went out to visit a few cooperatives, which was great because it gave me insight into what their perspective was. And then we spent about 3 days doing that. Then I met with various stakeholders. So the first week was taken up meeting people, which was hugely valuable. But I'm looking at, I have a 3-day training program I want to deliver, and being task focused, I want to make sure that we're ready for it. So the next week, unfortunately, the client was busy, so we couldn't work together. And then the first couple of days. And so by the time we got together, we started to shorten up the timing of the project management training from 3 days to 2 days. And then, of course, we had to wrap up early one day because it was a holiday weekend. So then it became a day and a half. So as I saw my timeline slipping, and I had so much wonderful content that I absolutely needed to impart, for me, it was adapting to making sure I spent the time and not understanding that the local client had other priorities and was balancing that, and that I had to prioritize the most important content, let go of some of the wonderful workshops that I had planned. And then, of course, I sent it all to them later so that they could look at it and review it. But seeing my timelines and timing slip, I think, was a bit of a surprise and something I had to, work through. So I think that's an example of being tasked versus relationship. And I would comment that I think many North Americans come, task first, relationship maybe second, whereas in many of the Asia Pacific countries, they have a better balance. They're not just relationship focused or task focused, but there's a better balance in terms of both being equally important. So I'd point that out.
Excellent. Thank you, Nadine. That's a really helpful example. Thank you. Then Debbie.
Okay. My example is a little bit different. Working in Cambodia, I was also working on a farm, but staying in a homestay. So when I walked into the bathroom, there was no sink, no shower, and no flush toilet. There was a cistern with a little bucket you could kind of use to flush the toilet. So yeah, it was surprising. It's the local way of doing things when you're living on a farm and staying in a homestay. So I managed with that. It was no problem. But where it became important to the project and where I did have to communicate with the person I was working with is that it was a tourism project, and the target group was Westerners, and he was building new homestays. And so I needed to be able to say to the client, what's the bathroom going to look like? Are you going to have a sink, a shower, and it kind of needs a flush toilet? And luckily I waited because for me, it didn't matter where I was staying, but I knew that from him to be able to promote his tourism business, that was going to be important. And luckily, there was somebody else who was there who had a homestay business in another part of Cambodia, and he and I both toured the new homestay together. And so both of us were saying the same thing, and the client understood immediately and was able to retrofit the bathroom in the new homestay so that it would be more appealing to Westerners.
So how did you realize that you couldn't just say that? What was the process in your mind knowing, okay, I cannot just blurt it out, say you should do this and this? What were your thoughts?
My thought was, it's not about me. It's not about what my living conditions are like, because that I'm here working on an assignment. I'm working on a farm. I understand, but if he needs to attract Western, if that's the target group to attract Westerners, that needed to be addressed with the new homestay business, and finding and having another person there who was a local, who also had a homestay and had bathroom facilities that were more amenable to Westerners, let's say, helped. So sort of sharing that, that delivery of that information to the client was really helpful.
Okay, great. Thank you. That was an excellent example. Thank you all for those insightful answers. I would like to go to the case study together. So let me share my screen. There. So yeah, most of our advisors have extensive experience working in different countries and are really achieving excellent results. But as we are hearing, each context presents unique cultural and also procedural dynamics that will require thoughtful adaptation. So in this case study, we'd like to explore one concrete example of such a scenario and discuss together practical strategies and best practices towards work towards a smooth, respectful, and effective collaboration with the partner. So for this case, during a meeting with the partner, the staff members who are present, they listen intently and don't object to the advisor's proposals. The advisor interprets this as agreement. However, after the meeting, the staff members do not follow up with the advisor and do not implement the advisor's recommendations. What happened? And I'd like to invite all of the panelists to share your insights on this case.
Yeah, I have experiences regarding this. Basically, what we tell them to encourage them to recommend the recommendations of the volunteer. We always tell our partners here, the in-country team, that we already seen results, no, from the previous or the other partners. When they follow the recommendations of the volunteer, they really succeed, no? Or they were able to reach their goal. So sometimes I tell them to visit, no, some of the what we call the champion partners, and do a benchmarking, so that they will know, no, that by following the recommendations of the volunteer, they will be able to reach their goals, no, whatever it is. We always encourage them, no, to follow the recommendations of the volunteer. But I always tell them as well, no, at the end of the day, it will be up to you, no, the partners. No? It will be up to you, because we can only do so much. No? The volunteer, no, the Catalyst Plus advisor, and of course us, no, the ICT team, we can only do so much. At the end of the day, it will be up to you if you want to implement the recommendation. But I can guarantee you, once you implement the recommendation here, whatever your goal is, no, in the future, for sure, no, we already seen it. No, you will succeed. So we always tell that to all of the partners. That's why most of the partners here, they really grew. No? As you can see on the the monitoring questionnaire, no? Our monitoring questionnaire. So that's what we no, what we.
Thanks, Soner. Nadine, would you like to add something?
Yeah, I mean, this is a really great case study because this happens almost all the time, where you feel that people are agreeing with you and moving along, and you're putting it down and everything's going great. And so, the importance of getting a check-in and making sure that people understand is critical. But I'd also say that it doesn't only happen with a group that you see people agreeing and being quiet, and you have to draw people out and get their opinions or get their active involvement in development. But it can also happen one-on-one when you're sitting beside a client and they're agreeing with you and you're taking them through content and they're being agreeable. And sometimes we forget that they may not even be fully understanding what we're saying. So, quick example, in Vietnam, I was working one-on-one with a client, putting in a performance management plan, and we were interviewing some of her employees. She was a new manager, and she had great English. And so when somebody speaks English really well, you just assume that they're following you all the time. But it's very exhausting to be listening to somebody, in another language. And sometimes, you get tired. So I was going on, and they're like, yes, yes, is this okay? Yes, yes, very agreeable. And then I asked a question that actually needed a yes or no answer. So I said, do you want to do this with the whole team or this individual? And she was like, yeah, right. And I was like, oh, so the whole team or just an individual? And she's going, yes, yes, right, good. And then I kind of dawned on me that I just was plowing through. She was sitting beside me, being agreeable. I knew she spoke English, but I think I just delivered too much content. I didn't check in with her enough. So this happens both with an individual and in a group format, and it's about really stopping and reading the room. I know that most advisors are good at presenting and reading the room, but really it's more to elicit more participation from the participants and get their ideas instead of just always lobbing in the ideas as well.
I was also going to talk about starting with a workshop, which is often the way projects start, getting as much interaction as possible with the people who are in the room. But sometimes I also find, reading the room, that it is better to start with a few one-on-one meetings with some of the key people, either the more senior people or the people who have the influence within the group. Sometimes, you can figure that out, and making sure that they understand what the task is or what everybody wants to achieve, and that they're on board with it. So it's kind of gaining that trust and that their pre-approval, almost their ability to kind of influence the rest of the group.
Right. Do you find in the countries that in Asia that works better to have one-on-one discussions instead of group discussions? And what would be the reason?
It's the format. I think when you arrive, you can usually understand where it's going to be useful to have one-on-one meetings beforehand, and where you need a workshop, or where a workshop to start off is good. And it really depends on the level of what the project is, how specific it is, how general. More strategic. You might need to do some one-on-ones first, so that you also have a better understanding of the context and the situation and the dynamics that are in play, versus starting with with a workshop, which is really just content delivery with as much interaction as possible. I think it's one of those things you need to learn on the ground when you first arrive.
So I know that hierarchy is the concept, or hierarchy is quite different between North American culture and Asian culture. Can you explain how, in this case study, that could have affected or influenced people not speaking up? Like, what are hierarchy structures like there, and how does it affect participation of attendance of the partner? Nadine, go ahead.
It's a good point, because sometimes when you're in a room, you have a group and you're trying to develop content for a marketing or a strategic plan, and you want the ideas of the people in the room, as they know their industry the best often. They often look at the senior person in the room before they answer, or if the senior person answers first, then you have a lot of supporting commentary. So if you really want to try to elicit the input of the broader team, sometimes it's good to put up wall charts and have everybody put their ideas down so that you're not making it so visible that the ideas are coming from one person and everybody has a chance. And so they can rotate different flip charts. Everybody puts their ideas down and you can review them. So that gives people more of a voice at times. But I think to Debbie's point, reviewing some of the important content with the senior people prior to the meeting ensures that things will go a lot more smoothly and more agreeably.
Debbie, would you like to add on? Is your hand up? No, but it's okay. I thought your hand was up.
I don't actually think it differs that much from culture to culture. I still think those same business practices that we probably have found very useful here in North America and Europe are very similar there. There may be some nuances and differences based on the project, but it's really key importance to make sure that everybody's on board each step of the way as you go through the process.
Yeah, I agree, no? I agree with Debbie and Nadine, no? I would suggest, no, as how I see, no, whenever I observe some of the training of the CAs and to the partner, it is better to have like an interactive training session, like involve them because if the CAs like keep on discussing and discussing and discussing, and then that's the reason why, no, I thought at our last meeting, the CA needs to observe the reaction or the faces of the partners because sometimes you can see in their eyes, no, or their face that they're already in a blank state, like huh, something like that. So it is better actually to make the training more interactive so that everybody will participate, everybody will learn. No? Not of course, just like what Nadine says, no, go to the person who's like has the influence, no, to the group, and then involve everybody, make it interactive so that everybody will participate, everybody will learn.
The last thing you want to do as someone standing up there wanting to help and move the project forward or achieve a goal, the last thing you want to do is look out into a sea of faces that are all like, what? As you're saying, Veneer. It's like, that's the last thing you want. That's really uncomfortable. You know that you really are not being very helpful. That's when you just get the nods and the eyes that kind of glaze over and you haven't been very effective.
Yeah. I would add that the translator is critical to the whole process, and the better they understand what you're trying to achieve and the outcomes and what you're working on, the better they'll be able to help you with the group in their understanding of what you're asking and why and how it fits together. And sometimes you can exhaust your translator because it's hard work, you know, in simultaneous translation. And sometimes you'll be speaking for a while and then the translator, you know, sums it up in one sentence and you wonder, you know, how that's, you know, being understood by the group in terms of what you intended. So working with your translator is so critically important, and making sure that they are up to speed on what you're trying to achieve.
Right. One thing that when we spoke earlier that you all brought up was how in many Asian countries there's a very non-confrontational communication style, very polite. And so when sharing feedback or maybe some critical insights, what are things that people should keep in mind when they try and provide feedback and maybe they're a bit more critical and give maybe some disagreement? What are things to keep in mind, and how would you best do that in your countries? And I was wondering, Hugh, if you might be able to shine a light on that.
Yeah, well, I would say like I am very impressed with the one of the way of our some of our CA has done in Vietnam by the way of they are not really sharing that much rather than putting the question to the audience or to the partners or to the staff who are participating in meeting or in the section and try to guide them to have the correct answer. And that is is the way of doing things like that. I can feel that is take people uh to be in a more active environment and engage them into the work that uh they will think they own the idea and they will apply it in the future for their own work. And uh, when we are talking about the disagreement, I mean, one of the things is that I saw one of our CAs not really saying disagreement about anything, but let them recognize that is right or not right, you know, by somehow they are, practicing or really touch their hand on the work. And when they see is that is not the right things, they themselves saying, okay, uh, we think we can have a better way to do things. So
Yeah.
I would say this is very impressive, and I would love to see it again. This is really impressive.
That's so much more effective when it happens organically like that.
Yeah, here, no, what I can suggest, especially to the CAs, no, um, of course, sometimes it's getting frustrating. They got frustrated with the partners, sometimes with the changes, no, the schedule, cancellations, sometimes, no, of the training schedules or training day, something, no. If the CA is getting frustrated, like something is like it's not working in a way, like there's a lot to share, no, to the partner, but it seems like just like what Nadine is telling us a while ago, like um you could have shared more, but you need to compress, no, because of the schedule, no? It becomes shorter. So it would be better, my suggestion, to the CAs, it would be better if you're really frustrated to approach or tell, no, the in-country team, no, the project officer, the country representative, because sometimes, no, it happens here. No? The CA got frustrated, and we have this what we call the messenger group chat, between the CAs and the partner. And then all of a sudden, the CA, he's really frustrated, and then he said words that is somewhat it appears to be offending. No? So I catch the attention of the CA. Oh, you shouldn't have said those words. No, it's somewhat offending. And can you delete that, please? And then all of a sudden, the partner is sending me messages already that they got offended. So it will be better to for the CAs to approach the in-country team first, and say tell us what's their frustration, because sometimes we can do something about that. What here in the Philippines, what we usually do, if the CA is getting frustrated, of course we try to calm, no, the atmosphere. No, we always tell the CAs, like, you know what, this sometimes this happens, no, uh, like changes of schedule, shortened training schedule, no. just remember it's not your fault. Okay, it's not your fault. And we can only do so much. We always tell that, no, to the CA, so that they will understand as well. Because of course we understand that the CAs, they really want to help. No, you guys really want to help out, no, the partners. But we can only do so much. Sometimes we get frustrated, yes. So we always tell them that, no, we can only do so much, and then we will approach the partners. And usually we before the assignment happens, we usually tell them this is just for 2 weeks. No? Maximize, no, the presence of the CA. No? Um, if you're not going to be there, make sure that the training will continue. So we always educate as well, no, the partners. So we're working both with the partner and as well as the CAs. So that's what I can share, no, to avoid those frustrating moments.
Yeah. If I could add on to Vener's comments, because I think that's probably the number one frustration that advisors will have when they're working in country. If the timelines slip and you're being task focused and the client has day-to-day needs or something comes up, the advisor has to take a deep breath and realize that you're going to move them forward. It may not be to the point that you had wanted, but it will definitely have an improvement. And then if you really feel frustrated, the country representatives have been amazing in terms of helping and intervening and just as an outlet as well. So they've been great at that. So I want to just reinforce what Vener was saying. But for me, that's often the most where you'll see the most frustration.
Yeah. I want to keep time for question and answers for Q&A. I want to take 2 minutes to talk about virtual work with a partner. So, because I know that building trust and building a good relationship with a partner is really essential. Do you have any tips on how to do that when you work virtually with a partner? What are things to keep in mind in terms of communication style, and then how you can connect and build trust? Just very briefly, 2 minutes, your thoughts on that. Yes, Hugh.
Well, for Vietnam, this is much more difficult than in the Philippines because we are having the different languages. I mean, the language barrier is one of the most challenges in Vietnam when we handle the assignment, and especially for the virtual assignment is even much more difficult compared with the in-country assignment. So this is very important to prepare the agenda, the content of the virtual assignment in advance. It needs to be very clear and exchange between the partner and CA for them to all understand the purpose and the objective of the virtual meeting or sections. So during the meeting or during the section virtually, this is very important to have a good interpreter to really make sure that people understand each other. It still happens sometimes, it's after some meeting or some section, people still don't understand each other. And, you have to have some kind of written down document or material to exchange through email after the virtual meeting. So this is it's happened quite often in the virtual assignment, and I think this is one of the very challenges that we need to aware about that when we are working with the partner in Vietnam virtually. Thank you.
Thanks. Maybe just one last comment, and then we'll move to Q&A.
Yeah.
Just to add on, in virtual assignments, I've found that if it stretches too long over several months, momentum is lost. So that's one consideration. And the second one is short virtual meetings with very specific and achievable goals in terms of what you want to get through. Sometimes I can be overambitious, and we're going to cover agenda. We'll cover all kinds of things, and I get halfway through if I'm trying to rush. So really just make it bite-sized achievements at virtual sessions.
And further to that, it's managing the expectations of what the outcome is going to be, because virtual, you can't get as much done. It's just by nature of the interaction. So managing the expectations of what you can really achieve on the assignment.
Great. Okay. Thank you. Let's take a look at the questions. So if you have any questions that you haven't put in the chat, feel free to put it in. Let me look at what's in here. Speaking the local languages. Yes, so that's working with an interpreter. That's will require extra patience when working with an interpreter for sure. Talking about the length of assignments. Currently in-person assignments are usually about 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. And yes, they go by fast. That's true. We will stick mostly with that timeline, but we are looking at working more with a phased format. We call that when there's a significant virtual portion and then connected to an in-person portion. And we've seen that works really well, especially I think when there's virtual work done before, having those meetings before and really defining what you're going to do on the assignment. We've seen that work really well, and I see heads nodding. So, and then sorry, I'm just answering the questions because there are more logistical sort of practical questions. Is pre-work for an international in-country assignment always built into a work plan? Yes. So a work plan is a document that outlines what the objectives of the assignment are. So yeah, it's really, really essential, as you've heard, to be in touch with the partner beforehand, whether it's emails or maybe setting up a call to go over that work plan and discuss in detail what your plans are and narrowing that scope together. So definitely very essential for in-person assignments to have that piece. I don't see any further questions. Is there any audience member who has any more questions? Also, you can unmute and ask your question if you would like. So here there's a comment saying it would be helpful to create an in-country checklist of cultural sensitivity. Assignments in the Philippines have all have common themes of cultural nuances. So meeting start times, weather stoppages, family priorities, etc. Yes, we're definitely we want to create this as an outcome of these webinars. We do want to create more of a written resource with all this information in it. So yeah, thank you. That's the plan. Okay. Okay, no more questions. Maybe we can
Actually,
do... Oh yeah.
Pak, I saw a question here from Chuck. I noticed, for example, you knowing language, being Vietnamese, Vener knowing Tagalog, being Filipino, knowing the local tongue is practically more important than English. So yeah, actually here in the Philippines, everybody speaks English, no? And sometimes whenever I'm on a travel, no, with the CA, sometimes I teach them some local language, no? Sometimes Tagalog, and we have uh, a lot of language here in the Philippines, no? Sometimes even the local language from where they are, like the Ilocano, sometimes I teach them some of the Ilocano words. So the partners are really amazed when the CA speaks their native tongue. So, but basically here in the Philippines, everybody speaks English. Everybody can understand the CAs.
Great. There's a couple more questions that are interesting. So someone's asking, what does the panel think of gender hierarchy, where men's views are paid more attention, but that is the norm in a culture? And I'm thinking, is that the case? Do you see that in your countries if that's the case? And then how would we work with that?
I have generally not found that to be a huge issue. I've worked with both women and men entrepreneurs, and I've seen a lot of contribution from women in meetings. I don't find that to be an issue.
Yeah, especially here in the Philippines. Because the business, what do you call this? Everybody, in the business or the entrepreneurs, most of them are women.
Well, I'm thinking of Vietnam, where I've done projects, and Myanmar, and also Cambodia.
Yeah, you're right. It's not the case in Vietnam as well.
Okay, great. We got that cleared up. There's another question. How about humor? What are words to avoid? And do you have to keep into account that there are different kinds of humor that you can or cannot share? That's a fun question.
Well, here in the Philippines, we love humor, actually, including the partner. So we don't have issues with rumors now. Of course, a little below the belt is, of course, it's a no-no, but you can joke around, no, with the partner. It's not an issue here as well.
I would agree. I think it really helps using a bit of humor, and just to be cautious in terms of the types of humor. If it's, kind of sarcastic humor, sometimes is a bit more challenging. So just as a caution on that front.
Just curious, is it a different kind of humor? Because even I'm European, I'm thinking like British humor is very different from Dutch humor. I'm Dutch. Is that the case too in Asian countries, that it's a different kind of humor?
Just to add, I think you're right. There's different styles of humor. But I think when I kind of point out sarcastic humor, it's because you might be
Offending, right?
exactly,
Yeah.
and unintentionally. You don't know people's position, so that's why it's a bit risky.
Yeah, and most of the CAs who've been here in the Philippines, they always crack jokes and everybody laughs. So yeah, just like what Nadine says, just be careful with humor or joke that might offend, something like that.
Well, one more thing I want to add is that because of the language barrier, sometimes the humor or joke making in English, but through the interpreter, it's become not really funny at all. And don't be sad about that, okay? When people are
A different,
not laughing, they
a
just
di-
showing no sense
yeah,
about your
it's like a
humor or
different
joking.
meaning.
Yeah,
It's like
it's
a different
totally
meaning
different
you.
meaning. And sometimes, it's just, you will need to listen from the native language point of view. Then you can, see it is a humor, or sometimes you cannot really recognize this is something for you to be happy.
Okay. I think this is a great point to end our webinar. Thank you so much. This was really, really great. Super interesting stories, very insightful comments and thoughts. Thank you so much to our panelists, the four of you, Hugh, Vaner, Debbie, Nadine. Super helpful, super insightful. Thank you also, Jane, Program Manager for Asia, for support in developing the webinar. And thank you everyone for joining, for your engagement, for your active participation, for your questions. It was great to have you here, and we're looking forward to seeing you at our next webinar.
Perfect. Thank
Thanks,
you.
everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.